The first week after moving in, I woke up angry, pounding on my door. 3 strangers in the polos stood outside, shouting about community violations. They saw a quiet, nerdy guy in glasses clutching a coffee mug, someone easy to intimidate. What they didn't know was that I worked for the FBI. When I moved into Maple Ridge Estates, I thought I'd finally found peace. The houses looked picture perfect. Identical lawns, trimmed hedges, and quiet streets where everyone smiled politely. I'd spent years chasing criminals across states. All I wanted now was a calm place to read, work remotely, and live anonymously. But peace doesn't last long in neighborhoods like this. Within days, I noticed small things. Neighbors whispering when I passed, curtains twitching as I walked by. The HOA president, Karen Turner, made sure everyone followed the rules. Her smile looked friendly, but her eyes studied me like a threat to control. At the first HOA meeting, she introduced herself with sugary confidence. "We keep order around here," she said, handing me a thick rule book. I nodded politely, hiding a smile. Rules didn't bother me, but self-appointed tyrants did. I didn't know it yet, but Karen had just found her favorite new target. It started with a letter taped to my front door. Bold red font reading, "Notice of violation. My offense, mailbox color not approved by the community board." I stared at the notice, half amused, half irritated. I hadn't even unpacked fully, and already the HOA had marked me for inspection. That afternoon, Karen appeared on my porch with a clipboard. "We try to maintain certain standards," she said sweetly. Her gaze slid over my uncut lawn, my half-assembled furniture visible through the window. "I hope you'll cooperate." I smiled faintly. Of course, I always follow the rules. She didn't catch the sarcasm. 2 days later, another note arrived, this time accusing me of unauthorized exterior equipment. It was my Wi-Fi antenna. Karen's tone on the follow-up call was sharper. "Some residents are concerned about what you're setting up." I almost laughed. If only she knew that antenna connected to encrypted FBI field servers. By day 4, I'd received 3 warnings and 2 not-so-friendly glances from neighbors. The nerd next door was officially on the HOA's radar. I could have shut it down immediately, but part of me wanted to see how far Karen would go before realizing her intimidation tactics were about to backfire. The HOA's monthly meeting was supposed to be about landscaping fees, but Karen had other plans. She stood at the front of the room, microphone in hand, smiling like a queen addressing her subjects. "We've had issues with one of our new residents," she began, eyes flicking straight toward me. Whispers spread like wildfire. "The nerd guy?" someone muttered. Another chuckled under their breath. Karen clicked through slides. Yes, actual PowerPoint slides, showing photos of my house, my driveway, even my garbage bins. "Multiple violations," she announced proudly. "Unapproved devices, incorrect mailbox color, and possible security risks. We must take action." I stayed seated, expression neutral, letting her perform. People love a villain, especially when someone like Karen directs the spotlight. I quietly reached into my bag, tapping my phone's recorder on. Her every word, every false claim would be my evidence. Let her dig her own hole. I'd handle the rest. When she finished, she looked at me triumphantly. "Anything to say?" she asked. I adjusted my glasses and smiled slightly. "Just one thing," I replied. "Defamation's a serious matter. You might want to check your facts before sharing them publicly." Her confident grin flickered for the first time. The audience noticed. After that meeting, everything changed. Neighbors who once waved now crossed the street to avoid me. Conversation stopped when I walked by. Someone even left an anonymous note on my windshield: "Follow the rules or leave." I could almost hear Karen's voice behind those words, sweet, fake, and manipulative. Then came the random inspections. 2 HOA volunteers showed up with clipboards, snapping photos of my house. One even tried to peek into my garage. Routine, they said, but their interest wasn't casual. It was calculated. Karen was building a case, a paper trail designed to make me look guilty. I started documenting everything: license plates, timestamps, photos
photos of the fake inspectors. It wasn't paranoia. My training told me this was coordinated. They knew when I left, when I came home, even what time I took out my trash. Someone was feeding them information, and I was determined to find out who. The final straw came when I found a motion sensor camera hidden near my fence line, pointed straight at my window. That wasn't HOA policy. That was surveillance. I took a slow breath, calm but alert. They thought I was an easy nerd to bully. They were about to learn otherwise. People saw a quiet man with glasses, a book under his arm, and a laptop glowing late at night. They didn't see the encrypted servers, the secure messages, or the case files hidden in plain sight. I wasn't just a nerd. I was a cybercrime specialist for the FBI. After years of undercover work dismantling criminal networks, I'd moved here hoping for quiet. Instead, Karen's fake HOA regime had created a surveillance net rivaling some small-time gangs I'd busted. The irony made me almost laugh. They had no idea they were poking at someone trained to expose fraud. I opened a secure laptop, connecting to the Bureau's closed network through my unauthorized Wi-Fi antenna. In minutes, I had access to every open-source trace of the HOA's so-called security program. Shell companies, off-the-books payments, and fake citations began to form a pattern. Karen wasn't just power-hungry, she was profiting. It was time to stop reacting and start acting. I gathered digital breadcrumbs, screenshots, and timestamps. Every call, every fake warning was evidence now. The neighborhood saw a meek newcomer, but I was setting a trap. Karen had turned this into a game of control. I was about to win.
I spent nights analyzing data, mapping patterns between Karen's fake citations and her inner circle. Every fine, every inspection traced back to one private account under her husband's name. They'd been collecting thousands in cash-only payments from residents who were too scared to question authority. It wasn't control, it was business. I created a fake email trail, posing as a new resident willing to pay off citations quietly. Within hours, I got a response from one of Karen's board members. Cash only, no receipts. Bingo. The moment they replied, my tracking program logged their IP, device ID, and payment method. Behind their perfect suburban smiles was an entire fraud network hiding behind HOA rules. Using my FBI credentials, I looped in a trusted contact named Agent Ruiz, who handled local corruption cases. We needed one last piece of proof, a live transaction linking Karen directly to the stolen HOA funds. That weekend, I left a hidden camera at the community mailbox. At 8:37 p.m., Karen arrived, collected envelopes, and handed them to a man in a black SUV. The plate matched her husband's. The footage uploaded automatically to my FBI cloud server. The digital trap had just snapped shut. The next HOA meeting was packed. Neighbors filled every chair, buzzing with tension. Karen stood at the front, clipboard ready, pretending nothing was wrong. Before we begin, she said, we need to discuss the continued non-compliance of one resident. Her smile was sharp. She was about to make an example of me again. But this time, I was ready. I stood slowly, projecting calm authority. Actually, Karen, I said evenly, there's something we need to discuss. I placed my laptop on the table and connected it to the projector. The screen flickered, then played footage of her handing envelopes to her husband's SUV in the dark. Gasps filled the room. Karen froze. This is taken out of context, she snapped, voice trembling. I clicked again. Emails, fake invoices, and bank transfers filled the screen. You've been stealing from every homeowner here, I said. Then I flashed my badge. Special Agent Daniel Reed, FBI Cyber Division. You're done. The room erupted. Neighbors whispered. Phones came out recording. Karen's board members bolted for the exit, but two plainclothes agents blocked the doors. Agent Ruiz stepped forward, cuffing Karen's husband. You have the right to remain silent, he said calmly. Karen's face crumbled, her empire collapsing under the weight of her own lies. The arrests made headlines the next morning. Local HOA leaders charged in fraud scheme. Neighbors gathered outside, watching the news in disbelief. The same people who once avoided me
me, now waved, thanked me, even apologized. The fear that ruled Maple Ridge had lifted, replaced by something the HOA couldn't fake: relief. Karen and her board faced multiple charges for fraud, harassment, and illegal surveillance. The stolen funds were recovered, and the HOA was restructured under real community leadership. As for me, I went back to being the quiet nerd next door. Only now, everyone knew not to underestimate the man behind the glasses. In the end, it wasn't about revenge. It was about principle. Power-hungry people like Karen always underestimate the quiet ones, the thinkers, the so-called nerds. They mistake kindness for weakness and control for authority. But when truth shows up wearing an FBI badge, arrogance doesn't stand a chance. Justice always catches up. That neighborhood taught me one thing: never let fear silence what's right. Whether you're a nerd, a newcomer, or just someone tired of bullies, speak up. And if you enjoyed this story of justice served cold, hit like, subscribe, and share it. Because sometimes even the quietest nerds fight the loudest battles.